What's up? In this video, I wanted to talk about something that I recently bought that really got my creative juices flowing and that I think is perfect for any content creator, especially if you're on a budget. I'm talking about this RGB pocket-sized light. This is the RM120 by SmallRig, and this is what I used to create that entire opening sequence that you just watched. So I actually bought this to demonstrate some things for my upcoming wedding lighting course, but it got my creative juices flowing, and it turned out to be so much more useful than I thought it was going to be. I wasn't going to make a video about this light, but once I started using it, I just started creating these little video clips like you just watched, and I was like, you know what? I need to show what's possible with something like this. Now, this thing is perfect no matter what type of content you are creating, whether you are a photographer, videographer, filmmaker, TikTok creator, whatever. Because let's be honest, in 2024, if you're any of those things, you're probably having to be all of those things to an extent. And when it comes down to it, finding pieces of equipment that work well and are useful across all of those different types of content creation can be really hard, especially at this price point. This thing comes in at only $60. Most things in the $60 price range are pretty useless. This is most definitely not. And let's get into what we could do with it. So the first feature that this offers is a color temperature mode, which, allows us to make the light warmer, make the light cooler. We can dim it, increase the power, and this is useful for matching ambient light sources and creating motivated lighting, like I did in this sequence right here. I turned the RM120 to a temperature that matched the lights in my bathroom, and I placed it so that way it was coming from a similar direction as my bathroom lights would. But by turning off the actual bathroom lights and using this as the only light, I was able to move it just out of frame on both of these shots to achieve more contrast and a more cinematic look. So this thing's got many different effects. It's got a lightning effect, it's got a loop, it's got paparazzi, pulsing, SOS, welding, alarm lamp. So this would be like your police cars and stuff. It's got fireworks, a fire, and it's got this TV setting. And the TV setting has like these little subtle flickers and slight temperature shifts. And this is what I used for this whole sequence. I placed the light on my keyboard to simulate laptop light. It looks like the light is coming from my laptop, but if we look at the shot with the light turned off, you can see that my laptop doesn't actually provide enough light. So, boom. This was perfect to give that kick of motivated light. And of course, I had this practical on in the background to give some depth and color contrast. And I actually used another RGB light from Yongnuo. It's a light one, and I used that to add a kick of warm light to my shoulder right here as if it were coming from this practical. Now, of course, then it's got two different modes for RGB. One, you just adjust the degrees and it has different colors for the degrees. And then the other mode, you can actually increase the color on each red, green, and blue channel alone and get all these different colors. And then you can decrease the saturation and brightness of those colors as well. In my opening sequence, I used mostly blue and red. I was just vibing with that. For these driving shots, I used a blue light and I kept it on a very low power, and I put it where my speedometer was behind the steering wheel. This kind of kicked light and made it look like the light was coming from my dash. I may have gone a little too strong on the blue, but I was going for a pretty stylized look. So while it's not realistic, I do like the vibe. So this got me inspired to do some more stylized shots. I ended up putting this onto a red color, and I put my Yongnuo light one on a blue, and created these different split tone sequences. Super simple, just placing red and blue across from each other and moving the camera around and seeing what I could get. So that brings me to the theme of this video, which is that something as simple as this $60 RGB light can really help you create anything that you want. Or you can use this light to guide a creative process, just like I did in that opening sequence. I basically just fiddled with this light, and as I came across different colors and different effect modes, I basically just was like, hey, what could I create with this mode? What could I create right now with this light? It didn't have to make any sense. It didn't have to have any rhyme or reason. It was just look through the modes, what pops into my head, can we create that right now? Now, I would never recommend really buying gear to fix your problems, but if you're struggling creatively or you need a budget light, really consider getting one of these. They're super useful, and I'm sure that you will find uses that go way beyond what I've discussed in this video. All right, once again, this is the $60 RM120 light from SmallRig. Thanks for watching. I hope you found something useful in this. We'll see you in the next video.